Welcome to Fun is Fundamental. Fun is Fundamental is a podcast for those who realize that the enjoyment of life is about having something deep in our souls which lights our fire. It's for those who maybe have lost that fire and feel like they are missing out on the pleasures of life. In each episode, I will share recent fun activities and focus on why having fun is essential for good health. I'm your host, Alenia, and I invite you to take this journey with me and join the pleasure-seeking movement. Hi, fun seekers. Today, I wanted to talk about what we did this weekend. It was Memorial Day weekend, and the weather wasn't very good, so we were trying to figure out what to do. And we had this adventure book, the couples edition, for, it may have been a year potentially that we've had it. We've had it just sitting there, never being opened for several months. And I was like, oh, we need to start this, I figured as summer was coming, it would be fun to start it. So the weather wasn't very good, and we're also trying to focus on eating more healthy. So we decided just to do the ones that at the beginning, there's different sections, and there's one that's just 4 of them that are for the beginning, you're supposed to do those before you move on to other ones. And so we were like, okay, let's do these ones that require food, get them out of the way, because we're going to be focusing on losing some weight for our vacation coming up in the fall. But I guess we both have kind of significant amounts of weight to lose. I particularly have a significant amount of weight to lose. So I'm really trying to focus on my health and eating healthy, nutrition dense foods. And so we kind of figured that the snacks that will be in these probably are not going to be the most healthy things. So we did 2 of them. And so we have 2 more to do. So these are just the beginning ones. I'm not going to keep having episodes talking about these, because obviously this is someone's, hard work to come up with these ideas. And so, I would encourage people to get the books if this sounds like something they would want to do. They're, they were very fun. So I would encourage that. And it's funny because I also talked to this woman who had the family edition and really liked it. And we've given the friend edition to a friend. I don't know if they've opened it, so we'll ask them if they have. Because I think it's been about almost a year, because I think we bought the 2 at the same time. And his birthday is in June, so it would have been June of last year. So yeah, we got to be like, hey, we did this. How have you tried any of that yet? have you done anything for our gift for you yet? No pressure, right? But it really is fun. So I, encourage them to do it. Anyway, the 2 activities are basically, the first one is that whoever is the one who doesn't cook as much has to be blindfolded and make a pie. And then the one who does do more cooking can only say 3 things. So I had to try to think of what 3 things. I ended up saying more than 3 things, but I was really trying not to say things. I would be like, I'm like, or I just say the same thing. I would try to say the same things over and over as much as possible. It's not only you could say the same thing. I think you can repeat yourself, but you're only supposed to say 3 things. I definitely said more than 3 things, but I still held back a lot. So we ended up making a pumpkin pie. I know Casey wanted to make an apple pie, and I was like, I don't want to cheat, but you can't use a knife when you can't see. I was like, that seems really dangerous. So we made a pumpkin pie, and like, I think at first, I don't know how he felt about doing it. I think he was like a little bit like, about it. But then he was like super game doing it. And like, I'd be like, do you want to do this, like this part? Because we like do, you have to like make the crust and then let it chill. So like, or take off the mask and I'm like, like, oh, do you want to go get this kind of thing? And, because otherwise I'm like trying to like get everything out. Like, you have a bunch of seasonings. I'm not going to be like, oh, try find these seasonings when you're blindfolded. And just like, yeah, kind of ridiculous. And then like I put the pie in the oven because, if you can't see, it's probably pretty easy to burn yourself on a hot oven. So let's just not take that risk, right? But mostly he did everything, including when it was like time to like go wash his hands, which I guess was probably because he didn't want to touch like the blindfold with his dirty hands. But like I'd have to like guide him over to the sink for him to wash his hands. And then like we'd like go have to go get something in the fridge or something and I'd like have to guide him. Like or like when we put the dough in the fridge, I like guided him to the fridge, and stuff like that. And yeah, like I'm sure it was just like very strange, but like, but it was really fun and like just awkward and silly. So that was like the first thing in the book. And then the second one was like having a like camping indoors. And so like there was like this thing of like making s'mores. You have to get like they were talking about like getting like this methanol gel, which is like the kind of stuff that they put under the hot food when you are catering, But we just were like, I was just kind of like, I don't know how I feel about like having this like burning thing in this makeshift tent or buy this makeshift tent. Like, like it's just kind of like, I don't know. So we did make s'mores, but we just ended up doing it like in under the broiler, and like they tasted really good. Like they were really messy though, because like it melts the chocolate more than you do when you make them on the fire, like campfire, because like with the campfire, you're just roasting the marshmallow, and then you just put it on the on the chocolate. But in this case, like you're like putting everything under the broiler, and which obviously is going to be good for like dealing with like this melted marshmallow on a cookie sheet. but then you like have like a lot more melted chocolate. I liked it, but it was definitely like messy. Like I had like chocolate like dripping down like my chin on, like it was on like my chest and stuff like that. Anyway, Casey, going back to like when we like scratched it off, like Casey was kind of like, he was like, this is uninspired, and he just like kind of didn't really want to do it, and was like kind of like, okay, kind of thing. Because I was just like, no, we gotta do this. Like we're doing the book, we're gonna do the things. But then like once we're like building our fort tent, whatever you want to call it, which by the way is still up in our bedroom. It's been two days, I think. I think 2 days. I think we, yeah. So anyway, once we were actually building it, he was really enjoying it and into it, and I came up with like I had some yarn, like a bunch of yarn that because I don't know, made something years ago. And so I came up with like using yarn to like drape the sheets over and stuff like that. Anyway, he got really, really into it, and I was really into it, and we ended up having like such a lovely little evening in our tent. We had
we made hot dogs. I wanted it to be like camping food. So we had hot dogs and we got some Doritos. I got like, spicy nacho Doritos. And then we had s'mores and it was really it was really lovely. And then you're supposed to watch like a romantic movie. Like they're all like, "Oh, and then look up the top 10 romantic movies." And I mean, it's just like, yeah, Googling that, like, it's like which list? Like, there's so many lists and they all have different top tens and, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. So we just kind of just chose a romantic movie that we wanted to see. We ended up watching Licorice Pizza, which, if you've seen it, I both liked it and didn't like it. I don't want to like spoil it for anyone as to why there were things I didn't like. It's a little bit problematic. There were things I liked about it though, like Paul Thomas Anderson movies. For me, it's always like kind of like I like them, but then like there's things that I don't like about them. Like sometimes I end up feeling kind of cold about like the characters and stuff like that. I don't know. Like this one was more accessible with the characters for me, but still problematic. Yeah. But we had a good evening. Both of us were kind of like, no, what? With the movie. It's not like I would have been perfectly happy just watching Pride and Prejudice again. You know how I feel about Pride and Prejudice, or maybe you don't. Maybe you haven't heard my episode when I talk about how much I love Pride and Prejudice. And Casey's never seen Pride and Prejudice. That's not problematic. But I'm glad I watched Licorice Pizza. I can watch things that are problematic and just be like, hey, that's problematic. Why can't I think of another word to say other than problematic? I guess it's just because I don't want to give anything away. So anyway, let's just leave it at that. So anyway, I would say we had a really fun, charming weekend, just the two of us, a 3-day weekend. We started Stranger Things also. So we just have to watch 2 more episodes. And then it still won't be over because, it's one of those split in half ones. But I like it better than season 3 so far. But anyway, we had a good Memorial Day weekend, despite the fact that the weather was not good. The weather today is really beautiful. Why it couldn't have been like this during the weekend? That's just kind of how it's been around here recently. We have not had a very good spring. And I'm hoping we start having nice weather soon and we have a nice summer. So, it is what it is. All right, I have a big announcement. I am going to start doing weekly episodes, and I'm going to alternate between this style of episode, fun time, story time, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Where I'm just like, hey, I tried a thing and I liked it, or I didn't like it. I mean, mostly I've said I've liked things because I'm generally quite a positive person. And I see the merit in a lot of things, even if they aren't like my number one jam, right? Anyway, alternating between this and interviews, where I'm going to have more in-depth conversations about, mental health things that maybe are contributing to not having as much fun, that sort of thing. I don't know what to say. Still gonna be really fun Friday. Yeah, like next week's episode is gonna be about the importance of like disconnecting from social media and news and things like that for stress management, anger management, and like how it benefits us to, connecting with each other and things like that to like get out of the loop of how things are in social media and politics and things like that. I look forward to adding this to the podcast. It's been about a year since I started the podcast, and it felt like it was time for trying something else, trying something new, trying something else, and seeing, how people respond to it. And hopefully it will add to what I can offer and help people. Because I want people to have fun. And sometimes you need to try different things to get to more people. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I hope that you have a good week and you do something fun. I hope that you had a good Memorial Day if you're in the United States. Hopefully you had better weather than we did. And if you're not in the United States, I, still hope that you had a good weekend and that this coming week you also have a good week. So I'll talk to you next week. I say I see you. I don't see you. I'll talk to you next week. I'll talk at you next week. And yeah, do something fun. Bye.